What should you know when you're designing a solar and battery system so it's reliable and it lasts a long time? Whether you're building your first off-grid solar system or planning for the day that your inverter gives out, these are the questions that you should be asking. How long should you expect your inverter to last? And if it's showing age, when is it time to replace it? What are the signs of an aging inverter? In this video, I'll share some lessons learned from a recent inverter install. We tore out an old one and put in a new one. I'll show you the good and the bad and what I wish I knew going into it. And if you've been following along, this is the second video I've done at this site. So today I want to share an update with an off-grid solar system in Michigan. It's a friend's place and we've been slowly upgrading it over time. I didn't install it 10 years ago. He had a friend do that. And he told me some stories about how he had lead acid batteries that lasted 3 years. He replaced those with more lead acid batteries. Those needed replacement after 3 years. He was having a hard time maintaining those batteries. So then he put in this new LFP system with these cells that he gets from work. It's about as DIY as it gets. He was able to reuse these cells and get over 30 kilowatt hours out of it. All right, we got some work to do today. The battery room is full of bees.
Hey guys!
So I don't know if you can see them right now, but there was a beehive and they're buzzing all around me, and here's the old beehive. Here's all the dead bees. So this is giving me hard work if I'm gonna be stung. We're gonna be removing the inverter and the charge controller and replacing it with a new Solarc 8K. That's what we got to do today. Okay, here we go. It's time to dismantle this. We're gonna take away the charge controller, this front controller, the inverter, and we're gonna leave this and attach into that. We're gonna remove this generator support and we're gonna replace everything with the Solarc. Now it's time to dismantle. Okay, we pulled everything out. Now it's time to hang the bracket for the Solarc inverter. And hopefully all these wires will still line up and get into the box. There we go. You know, it is big. It's similar size, would you say? To like this. We stripped it. We're almost all the way in. These are in. What a bummer. Here it is, the unboxing moment. There's the Solarc. This is an 8 kilowatt. We're replacing a 3 kilowatt, so this is oversized, but it's an all-in-one box that is much more reliable than the last one. One thing that was pretty interesting to see with new technology is the solar DC voltage input for the Solarc was about 150 at the minimum to, I think it was either 500 or 550 voltage max. The old Midnight charge controller that was there now was a maximum of 150 volts, minimum I think around 80. So what this means is the way that the solar array was currently wired will not work with the Solarc. So I did some calculations to try to figure out what is the best string voltage to match the Solarc inverter. I first looked at, can I put all 12 solar panels in series and have one string going to the inverter? Unfortunately, the maximum VOC was higher than what the Solarc could handle, just barely. So like 11 panels in series would have worked fine. So what I did is I checked for 6 solar panels in series and having 2 strings of those, 6 times 2 for the 12 modules. And that seemed to be a really good match. The voltage was a little bit low, but it was fine. I think it'll work great with the Solarc inverter. Okay, so right now there are 4 strings, and each string has 3 solar panels in it. So string 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need to combine them into 2 strings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make those 6 panels 1 string, make those 6 panels 1 string, and that'll match up for the inverter much better. So let's get started.
my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire.
All right, we got the 2 strings connected. That's one of them, and one of these is the other. And so we just went down from 4 strings down to 2. So I have some wires to pull out of here. The current is actually the same. The voltage doubled with those strings, and the wire could handle the higher voltage. So we were good to go. We didn't have to rewire anything. We actually had extra wire left over that we could throw away or keep for a rainy day. All right, we got the solar panels all wired up. So at this site, it was time. The whole system was, I think, 11 years old. And most of the time, inverter companies recommend 10 years max on their inverter, so it was time for a replacement. The solar panels were looking great. They're going to last over 20 years. The battery system was new. It is a DIY LFP system, and they are old cells, but it was a new system that we could upgrade. And doing that DIY was a bit easier because that's where my expertise is in. So we tore out the equipment. We mounted the mounting bracket for the solar converter. That went in easy. We hung the inverter. It fit perfectly. It pretty much had the same footprint on the wall as the old system did. And we went from 3 kilowatts to 8 kilowatts for AC power. So kind of incredible how much more power we got in the same space. But I love these new inverters. You have the charge controller, the inverter, the generator input, all integrated into one system with one interface to talk to make these changes. So I'm really happy with this install. It went really quick. We were able to dismantle the old system, install the new solar converter, rewire the solar panels for higher voltage strings, and turn everything on in just a few hours. And luckily, once the inverter was on the wall and basically the same spot as the old system was in, all the wiring pretty much matched and fit. Kind of came in at different angles, but pretty much fit into the inverter box pretty easily. Luckily, the lugs on the battery terminals were already the right size. I literally just put those cables in and tightened them up. The load section for the load panel for the cabin, those reached, plugged those in, and then plugged in the solar. There's only one string coming from the combiner box, so I only use one of the MPPT inputs, but that's fine. It's 12 modules are all in the same plane. It's a ground mount system. They don't get much shading. So having them all on one string is fine. Plugged that in, crossed my fingers and turned everything on, and the solar was pumping out solar. The cabin lights came on, the internet came on. We heard all this beeping. Which is always a good sign. But then, unfortunately, the battery had faulted out. The BMS turned everything off. The BMS said that there is a low voltage fault. I looked at the dashboard. P group number 10 had a low voltage at like 1.9 volts. So we were worried that that whole P group was now destroyed or needs to be replaced. So this is a DIY pack. These cells are used. We think that most of the cells are in pretty good condition. It's hard to tell what the situation is. One of two things happened. Either the SOC of the whole pack was drained incredibly low, where one of the P groups that happened to be the lowest voltage got extremely discharged, and the rest of the cells were in an okay position, above 2.5 at least. They're like 3.1 to 2.8 range. So it does seem like it was at a low SOC. The other thing that could have happened is one of the cells was bad in P group 10, and all the good cells or better cells dumped in their energy into that bad cell, which then brought down that whole P group together and kind of destroyed them all. What I wanted to do was turn the system on, get the BMS connected, and charge to see if it could be recovered. I thought it was worth a shot since it was already set up. But every time I tried to get the BMS connected, the BMS would fault and say, low cell voltage or something. It wasn't really giving clear reasons why it was faulting and turning off. It was even turning off, so I couldn't connect to my phone to it anymore. It was kind of like restarting itself over and over again. And every time the solar tried to charge it, it would turn off again. So I don't know, it's kind of strange. Like, why would a BMS not allow a battery to recharge? It seems like for discharge, yes, sure, like stop it from discharging. But if you see an incoming current, like, why wouldn't it charge? It was getting late in the day. I was considering to just bypass the BMS and start charging it because I knew it was low SOC. I knew it wouldn't be a problem, for 20 minutes we charged it up. I was about to do that, but then I realized I had to go pick up my son at school. And I knew I was going to have to come back here anyways to do some more work, to clean up the wiring and everything. So I ended up stopping there for the day. So this JK BMS, I don't know. I've sold a few of them. I haven't heard raving reviews. I'm not so happy with it. The things I do like about the JK BMS is that it has adjustable number of voltage inputs, like up to 24 volt channels, I think. So you could do an NMC or LFP pack, 14S or 16S. That's kind of convenient. You have one box that can do that. The second thing was it has active balancing. So that's why I got it, hearing people using it. Since then, I bought the Seplos BMS, and I have an active balancing kit that comes with it. We might be switching the site to that. I'm unsure about what we're going to do here. If we can get the JK BMS to work, great. Maybe it's more the problem with the cells. Maybe it's more a problem with the BMS. That's what we have to figure out next, and that's what a future video will be on. But the good news is the inverter looks good. The solar was working. The connection to the loads is working. Oh, I also have to get the generator support figured out. I've never done a solar with a generator, so that'll be a fun one to work on because I want to set it up where it can tell the generator when to turn on and the generator starts. I know sometimes those can be a little tricky. So hopefully the generator we have there is compatible with the solar, so that'll be another video as well. So anyways, this project is still in progress. We've made some good progress, but there's more to do. And with these off-grid systems, with DIY systems, to some extent, there's like a never-ending troubleshooting thing to do. So what I'm happy about this site is we have a Solarc. It's a very reliable inverter. I like that if it has a power source, the inverter stays on, whether it's solar or grid connection or generator or batteries. If one of those four are providing power to the unit stays on. A lot of the older solar and battery inverters would turn off if it lost power from the battery. The battery DC rail is what kept the inverter alive, but the Solarc, that's not the case. So it needs a power source to stay on, but not only the batteries. So that improves some reliability. So if we have this like DIY battery pack that's constantly tripping, at least the solar can keep the system on and keep things functioning for a little bit, and then maybe it has time for the generator to kick on. So we got the inverter installed. We were able to test all the components and everything was working, but there's still more work to do at the site. I'll be back soon. I'll record another video of the work that I do there. There's only a couple more things to do. We have to check up on the battery system and see if we can get this BMS to work. If the BMS is not going to cooperate, then we may have to replace it with the new BMS. And the next thing that we need to do is set up the generator support. After that, we need to tighten up all the wires, and the system and the project will be done. So I'll do another video on the kind of final stages of cleaning up the site. So don't forget to check back in for more videos. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye. So the important thing about inverters is you got to make sure that, don't let the bees get in there. I'm just sipping my coffee.